Chris, and this is Barnon 11970. We got a little live chat I would like to do for you all, and I hope you are having a great day. And I wanted to read a comment that basically inspired me to make this video, and it really made me think about things and put things in proper perspective, and that's why I entitled this video, We Are the Lucky Ones. So the first thing I want to do is welcome all the people that are starting to come in. I do live shows all the time. I just like this format. It's so much easier for me. It's sporadic, but people enjoy it. So thank you for taking the time to listen, whether you're watching it live or watching it later on. So the person that I want to give the shout out to, and I'm going to read their comment, it's Angel Haley. And I thank everybody that takes the time to comment. And they write the following. Thank you for making these videos. And this is regarding a video that I did about what is a social justice warrior, the SJW, in my opinion of the whole thing. So they say, thank you for making these videos. They always make me feel less lonely. And I'm glad to hear that. Though I've noticed in the past that every time I would tell someone the truth about why this country and why they should not be trusted as far as the mainstream media news. But they don't believe me, and at a later time, some of these people would ask me, why didn't I tell them, or how they wish that somebody would have told them sooner. It also is something that happens to my best friend, only it happens with their mother. Anyway, I would like to know, why is it when some people are shown the truth, they just brush it off? Is it because it scares most people? So I kind of gave a summary of what they said. Now, so many people throughout history have said things, and you'll even hear it today. They'll say things like, well, if something was true, people would talk about it. And as you can see with my videos and hundreds of other channels that do videos like this, we do talk about it, but people are not paying attention to it. And I've made statements several times that I'm about to approach 29,000 subscribers, and my average views on a video range between 500 and maybe a couple of thousand at most. The average is probably about 800 per video. And I got a little frustrated, and then I thought about it. The average people out there are so concerned about trivial things. They're worried about, who's going to score the next touchdown, or what the latest fashion is going to be this week, or what celebrity is going to be dating what other celebrity. They don't really focus on what's really important in life. And I thought of it this way. Of the 29,000 subscribers, I only have maybe anywhere from 500 to 1,000 that really care about what's going on, that really pay attention to what's going on, to the point where they're watching on a regular basis. And I'm sure I'm not the only channel that they listen to. I'm sure there's plenty of others, a lot of them that are a lot better than me, because, I don't have $1 million budget. I am not some famous person. I don't have fancy sets. I'm just a regular person who, for some reason, was thrown this information, and it caught my attention to the point where I wanted to share it with the world and see what I can do to change even just one individual's life. That's one of the reasons, like you could see in the title of my heading, onto the Barnon 11970, it says, uniting the people one person at a time. And I see there are very few people that care about this stuff. It is a lonely place. And a lot of people in their comments over the years have told me how, they get depressed, they get lonely, they lose a lot of friends, a lot of family members, and a lot of people think we're crazy. Now, let me tell you something. When I first started my original channel, and it was called Barnon 11967, I closed that around the end of 2012 and then started this one because I just missed it and I thought it was just too important. There were a lot of people calling me crazy. Tinfoil hat, conspiracy theorist, paranoid. They don't do that as much anymore. And the things that I was talking about years ago, more and more people are starting to catch on to. So they're starting to see that corruption is not something that's being paranoid. People being hired to cause problems, well, we see that now on videotapes, what's going on with Hillary Clinton. The DNC, the FBI covering evidence to protect Hillary Clinton and the status quo. It's ridiculous to the point where they're not even looking like they're even trying to hide it any longer. And then you see the video that I made earlier today, and if you haven't watched it, please do, showing that how obvious it is that she's reading some kind of script, which means they got the questions beforehand to the point where they could practice them and go over the answers. These are not supposed to be given in advance. They're supposed to be spur of the moment to see what they'll do to answer a question on the spot. It's almost so obvious that it's amazing that a lot of people, especially the people that come here, are amazed at how the masses don't get it. Well, maybe in the sense we're the lucky ones because for some reason, whether it's your spiritual belief, whether you are guided, whether you think it's just your own abilities, maybe we're taught these things and maybe we're the minority because maybe we're the ones that are supposed to make it through all the bad times. Because how do you survive in the world if you don't know how to go through the process of surviving? If you don't think there's anything wrong? I mean, think of the typical quote-unquote yuppie type of person. That's probably a 90s term, but you know what I'm talking about. The people that are worried about their coffee, they're worried about the latest fashions, they're trading in the stock market, they might have a little bit of extra money, they buy the latest gadgets, they wait online for days for the latest iPhone. They're talking about all things that are trivial and don't do anything to help themselves. Maybe they have enough food in their refrigerator of their little condominium or little apartment they have on the Upper East Side, maybe for a couple of days. What do you think would happen to an individual like that if all of a sudden the lights shut off and there were riots in the streets and all of a sudden the economy just disappeared and was no longer the way it was, where people nowadays, they just use their cards, their credit cards, like there's no tomorrow. And all it's doing is creating more and more debt. Currency is created when people borrow it into existence. So they love giving you credit cards. What do you think is going to happen to those people if that shuts down? If all of a sudden the power is out for not a day, not a week, not a month, but forever? What do you think is going to happen with all of the college education they got talking about, the social justice warriors and talking about, social concepts and feminism and all these theatrical arts? What do you think that's going to do to help them? Now, I'm not saying that if you're in the know, you're guaranteed, but if you take a person that is an expert in wildlife and an expert about what foods to eat in the forest and knows all about camping and knows how to tie special knots and build your own houses made of trees, if they're left in the woods, they got a much better chance of survival than some person that just spends their life on the computer playing video games, who has no clue and didn't take the time. So I'm not suggesting there's going to be a World War III or anything, because I don't believe in that. But if there is a scenario where something similar or close to that happens, where there is a war, there is a terrorist attack, because they've been definitely gearing us up towards hating Russia, which most people that come here and other places, we don't believe in their garbage and their propaganda. We're not going to be as fooled as the average person who will just not see it coming, even though they've been warned probably by each person that's listening to this video, if not once, several times. They just choose to not listen. That maybe we will have the reason to survive and thrive, maybe even. So I used to worry about how few people pay attention, how few people care, how few people listen. And then I thought about it. Well, what if we are a select group that for some reason was chosen to be able to see and react to things that most people can't see, can't pay attention to, who will call you crazy without even investigating it because they believe in what they're told, they believe in their program? What if like the movie The Matrix, we are the people that freed ourselves from the connection, while the masses are still connected, living a dream life, slave to the system? So the more I think about this, the more I realize people like us, the ones who care, not the people that come here to say, oh, you're dumb and you're crazy and you're, whatever, but the people that are here because they want to learn more, that they can see through the lies, that they understand there's corruption, who research things on their own, and even though things might be strange, they see that there's something different. Maybe we are just people with better antennas that can get a better signal. I mean, look at the difference between a 13-inch black and white TV to a new 4K television today. There's more clarity, there's more signal, there's more definition. What if we are the 4K TVs and the majority of the people of the world who are very knowledgeable about things that don't matter, like sports and fashion and gossip and Hollywood and music, and we are worried about things like the economy, the corruption in government, slavery, real slavery, that although it could be lonely for us at times, and it could be frustrating because family members and friends will think you're crazy or think you're strange or you're ruining their party. I'm sure, like you see, if you ever watch the movie Titanic, there's a scene when the ship is starting to sink, and there are people panicking all over the place. You see 4 or 5 gentlemen all of a sudden start to play their instruments to try and calm the crowd, which really didn't do anything but help themselves. And all it did was create a nice little, basically, distraction from their death. So they didn't try and get into a boat. They didn't try and figure a way to survive the situation. They just played music until they drowned or froze to death. So how did that help them continue their lives? How did that help them create a family, create a legacy? What if one of those people that drowned in the Titanic or any situation, what if they were meant to cure cancer? Or create some kind of invention that helps the world? Well, they're gone now. So I feel there's a reason why we are the few. And we should be proud at those that mock us, because they can't get it. They can't see it. And to us, for the majority of us, it's obvious. I mean, I posted the video on my Facebook page about the video I did earlier today, and not one person responded to it. I've posted video after video, made comments after comments, links after links on my Facebook page. People don't care. But if I put up a picture of a kitten, you get 30 reactions. And that is what people want. They want the cute little kittens. They want the distractions. They want the sexy videos. They want the people to tell them how to think. And they're the ones mocking us. They're the ones ignoring us. We're worried about that. We're worried about those people. Because I can guarantee that the majority of people that are listening to this for the right reason, if the lights shut off tomorrow and your dollar system, wherever you live, your currency system fails, I guarantee you 80% of the people that are listening to this for the right reason would have a much better chance of survival than 90% of the world who doesn't give a crap about what we say. So I view this as a little club. And I feel like I am lucky. Because instead of throwing my money away on beer, throwing my money away on strip clubs, throwing my money away on parties, and doing all these different things that once that money's gone, you're not getting it back, I have spent the majority of my currency turning it into real assets, like gold and silver, stocking up on food and water, making sure I have things like batteries and containers to hold things in. And yes, even things for a while, I was collecting comic books. The comic book books I was getting have a value. So while the economy's still going strong, if I am in a pinch, I could turn around and sell them because I would buy them for 40 to 50% of what they're worth. There are some books I spent $30, $40 on that are worth $800 to $900. So the majority of people are going to buy the newest iPhone that will cost them $600, $700, $800, $900, $1,000, $1,200. And then every year or two they buy another. There's going to be plenty of people that are going to buy the latest shoes that come out each year and each fall telling you, oh, who are you wearing to make somebody else wealthy? There's going to be plenty of people spending their money like it's going out of style. Why do you see like so many athletes that make millions of dollars end up being broke? Because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to invest. They hire people to basically help them lose their money and end up with nothing because they wasted it on things in the long run don't matter. And a lot of us that come to places like mine and plenty of other channels out there, we're trying to seek the truth. We're seeing through the lies. I mean, you're talking about things like my biggest video, The Truth About the United States Law and You, has close to 350,000 views right now, which for me is incredible. There are plenty of game channels that get that within 5 minutes. I'm proud of the fact that it got that many even in 3 years. But that is talking a majority about the Act of 1871. So this has been going on since the 1800s. And if you asked anybody on the street, if you just went up to somebody with a camera and said, excuse me, can you tell me about the Act of 1871? They would look at you like you just asked them to describe the universe in Chinese backwards. They would have no clue what you're talking about. And this has been around since the 1800s. And all people do is dismiss it. The masses dismiss things. They mock things. They make fun of things because the majority of people are on their side. And most people are very insecure. They need other people to survive. They need other people to tell them what to wear. They need other people to tell them what to purchase and what's in, what's out, what's cool. And these are the people that mock us, that laugh about us, that ignore us, and they don't even see their own demise. And yet, yes, it could be lonely for people like us. But we don't need somebody to tell us what's in style. We're not going to spend $500 on a pocketbook or a pair of sneakers or a shirt just because it has somebody else's name on it. We're going to spend that money on food for our family. We're going to spend it on things that help us. Like there are plenty of people that mock my orgone pyramids that I sell and my organic products. When people buy my organic deodorant and other people try it, they tell me all the time it is the best deodorant, period. And because I buy the ingredients in bulk, I actually charge the same price as most deodorants in the stores. Only you're not getting the cancer that most people put under their arms and get into their systems and cause things like breast cancer. But plenty of people will make fun of that stuff, and like my orgone pyramids because of crystals. And they don't realize that LCDs, liquid crystal television, and how lasers were once used with rubies, and how crystals, when they created the first radios, they attached a copper wire to a crystal. It created a signal. When you say the word energy, they don't understand it. They only want to see what's in front of them. You don't realize that when you look around, wherever you are right now, whether you're lying in bed, sitting on a couch, driving in your car, in the backyard, walking in the beach or whatever, if you look around you, there's an infinite amount of things you can't even see and don't even know are right there. Does that mean they don't exist because you can't see them, can't taste them, can't touch them? People don't understand about vibration. They don't know about energy and how the difference between a rock and air is just the collection of particles and molecules that are either scrunching together through magnetism or being separated. Everything's made of the same material, which is energy. But they don't want to think about those things. But yet, their cell phone or their Wi-Fi on the computer, they don't think about that as magic, but, I mean, if you think about it, well, you have a laptop. If you're watching this on a laptop or your cell phone, it's probably wireless, which means that the signal of me speaking is coming through the air and entering into your computer all around the world. Is that magic? But no one has a problem with that, but you talk about a crystal, and all of a sudden people think you're crazy. So I really think we are the lucky ones. We are preparing for things. Maybe there's a reason why the majority fail when cataclysmic events throughout history happen, and only the few survive. You know, they're always telling you that the strong shall survive. Some will, But it's the smart that survive. You don't have to be strong to be smart. You just have to know what's going on. You have to pay attention. You don't dismiss something because it's crazy. Because, like they say, truth is stranger than fiction. So I'm glad that I'm awake. And I'm proud of the fact that I've tried to help family and friends educate themselves and pay attention to things and stay away from the mainstream media and don't believe everything that you're told and do your own research. But like they say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And everybody gets what they give. You give nothing, you will get nothing in the long run. That may not always be obvious right at that moment. And when you spend your life trying to insult and hurt others, you may get some glorification. It may make you feel good, but it's going to make you feel very lonely, and eventually it comes around and you see the error of your ways. But at that point, it's too late. I mean, I see some of the videos from now and then because some people will send me links and I don't know what they are, and I check them first before I approve any of them. And every now and then it'll go to one of my Barn on haters that have been hating me since 2012, and they haven't changed one bit. They're like a little pond that's growing moldy, that doesn't move anywhere and stays stagnant. I consider myself, and many of you that are listening, like streams, that we go with the flow. We're crystal clear. We go in different directions. We don't settle. And yes, it's lonely sometimes. It's scary sometimes because there is the unknown. But let me tell you something. I have survived all this time, even with death threats, even with people insulting me and hating me and wishing harm towards me just because I have a different belief system. I have had my own businesses and been working basically part-time since at least 2001. We can all do whatever we want. People are always complaining about taxes. People are always complaining about the jobs they hate. People are always complaining about the economy, and yet they won't do the things that it takes. People ask me constantly when they watch that video, The Truth About the United States Law and You. The biggest question that I get is, so what do we do? I tell people what to do. You want to get out of a corrupt system, you don't participate in it, which means there's going to be sacrifice, which means you won't be able to use credit cards, which means you shouldn't have a bank account, which means you shouldn't work for other people. You complain about all the taxes you're having taken out of your paycheck. That's because that's the price you pay being a slave of a system. I work for myself. They don't get the same taxes as they would for a person that works for a corporate entity. But it does take sacrifice. Having your own business means a lot of work. It means that you can go, there are days I go to work and make nothing. But there are days I go to work and make something. And that's one of the reasons why I need the advertisements on my YouTube channel. Because they do help me. And if this got very popular, it would help me actually be able to do it more. And I don't ask for donations. Yeah, I have the donation button up there, and I think a total of 5 people since I've been doing this channel have done it. I've never required anybody to ever do it, but it's there in case somebody wants to. Helps me to be able to live, and helps my wife be able to live. And we're not spending money on garbage. When I make any currency, after my bills are paid, I buy something that will help me in the future, whether it's food, whether it's a comic book that is an investment comic book, whether it's gold and silver, or some other form of collectible. And Daryl Smith said, what is Organite? Well, if you check one of my videos, I give a little description, but definitely research Organite. Orgone pyramids. It's basically like having an ion filter, only from nature. And I make orgone pyramids, and I sell them. In the description of every video, there's a link that you can check these things out. And I've had people that have never heard of these things before, never believed in them, said they're absolutely crazy. And for example, one of my best sellers is a thing called an EMF buster, electromagnetic frequency buster. Fits in the palm of your hand. And when I would put it in people's hands that don't understand it and think it's garbage and think it's foolish, every one of them says, wow, I could feel energy in my hand. People don't understand how things work. I mean, copper is a transmitter of electricity. It's not magic. It's just how the world and the universe works. And if you put a copper band around your head, you're actually circulating more energy into your brain. Why do you think they have those wristbands around your wrists that are made of things like copper and magnets? It's not magic, it's just science. It's the way things are. Life works through light and magnetism. That's why they say you're attracted to something. When you are full of knowledge, you're enlightened. And it all comes from within. That's why when you have a lot of knowledge, you have insight. Insight, inner sight. It's all in the words that most people think are crazy. We are the lucky ones because we understand a deeper meaning. That words have vibrations. Because word is nothing more than sound. Sound is nothing more than energy. Energy is nothing more than something moving at different frequencies, which are different speeds. So they say sticks and stones may break your bones, but names will never hurt you. Well, if you were a child that was told you were a piece of garbage from your parents all of your childhood, you don't think that's going to destroy your future? A broken bone heals. It may not always heal properly, but if you break a bone, unless you have some kind of problem with healing, your bones will repair themselves, and you will continue to go on in life. But words can make people want to end their own lives. So anybody that made up that whole sticks and stones things had no clue what was really going on. Because I guarantee you, you could be 70 years old watching this video and remember something that happened 60 years ago that somebody said to you that was so cruel you will never forget it. And you could think about it right now and it will still hurt you. So don't tell me words don't affect you. Put your nails on a chalkboard and screech down that chalkboard and tell me you won't cringe. It will physically harm you. And it's just a sound. So that's why I titled this The Lucky Ones, is that we're the ones that get it. We're the ones that pay attention. We're the smaller group. The others choose to be ignorant. That's why I don't call people that much sheeps anymore. I call them willfully ignorant because they choose to ignore because they think tomorrow's going to be the same as today as the same as it was yesterday. And that will happen for a large period of their lives, but it only takes one event to change everything instantly. And by that point, you could sit there and say, oh, I wish I could have done something. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. And that's why I use that example of, like, for example, Fukushima. People that were living on that coastline, probably for months, years, decades, were living there. Everything was great. Everything was going the same it was the day before. And then all of a sudden, they looked out their windows and they looked out their rearview mirrors of their cars and saw their death coming. And they couldn't do anything about it. And that's not doom and gloom, to be aware. Doom and gloom is when you focus on the negativity, saying, oh, no matter what happens, you're going to die. There is no end. And to me, an end is just something that wasn't meant to continue, and now something better is going to happen. If you have a building that no one lives in anymore, and is basically rotting to death and is condemned, to put another building there, you have to first destroy the old building and move it away. So to me, if there are going to be wars, let there be wars. If there's going to be famine, let there be famine. If there's going to be an economic collapse, let there be an economic collapse. Because that means that nature is trying to get rid of an old system that is not working. What we are complaining about. We are all complaining we don't like the system, but yet we're holding on with it with both hands saying, oh, I need this. Please don't go away. You're so familiar. I need you. I don't like strange things. I don't like difference. I don't like the darkness. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's darkest before dawn. You cannot be afraid. It's like being in a relationship that's so horrible, you stay in it because you don't want to be lonely. And you'll accept an abusive relationship or just a bad relationship because it's familiar. And you'll complain to your friends, oh, this person treats me so unfairly, or I'm just so unhappy. But you choose to stay because it is all your choice. You have to let go. What I think about is, think of the difference. Think about a very highly flowing stream where there's an incredible current. And just think there are two ants that fall in this stream. The one ant is swimming in the water and saying, I want to go upstream. because I have control of my destiny. I'm going to do what I want no matter what happens. And I want to go upstream, so I'm going to swim against the current and fight it. Well, guess what? They're going to fight the current. They're going to struggle. They're going to be in pain. Next thing you know, that ant drowns. Didn't get where it wanted to go because its destiny was not meant to go there. And you fought against the current out of your own sheer stubbornness. And you died and perished and suffered for it. And the second ant, when it gets in the water, realizes it has no chance to go upstream. And realizes, I'm just going to go where the current takes me. And jumps on a leaf in the water. And allows the river to just take it where it needs to be. And that's what's going on in this world, is we are being taken to where we need to be, but where most of us are fighting it. Saying, oh, I want change, but I don't want to lose my credit cards. I want gold and silver to work, but I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to lose my dollars. I don't like this corrupt system, but I'll vote for the lesser of two evils. Let it go. Be on the stream and let it float you away. You fight the current, you will die tired, exhausted, and defeated. You cannot say you want change and hold on to what you want to be changing from. If you are too afraid to get rid of your credit cards, if you are too afraid to close your bank accounts, if you are too afraid to risk your job that you hate to work for yourself and sacrifice, then you do not want freedom. The minority are the ones that will succeed. They have the confidence. I don't need to be a millionaire to be successful. But that's what they make you think these days. I mean, look at somebody like, for example, Hillary Clinton. She's very wealthy. She look happy? Yes, she might have a lot of power, and yes, she probably was responsible for getting plenty of people killed, and she's definitely got plenty of minions working for her. But she look happy. Does she look like her face has an expression of love and serenity? I wouldn't trade anything I own to be her. Even if my life would have been financially better. Even if I would have had the ability to snap my fingers and end the life of somebody. It takes more to save a life than ever to end one. So there are plenty of people that are financially wealthy in this corrupt system who are looked upon as the people we follow. Because when you think about governments, they are all the wealthy people. We are all the poor people that vote, most of us, or middle class, but we're not the elite. And we're saying, please take care of us. We don't like what you do. We know you're liars. We know we can't trust you. We know you're going to really go against what we want, but you're familiar, so let's put in my vote. And yet you'll say, I want a new system. I want this system to end. And then you hold on, scared to death. For a new door to open, you have to close the other and not be afraid. Don't be afraid of the dark. Because what if the dark is the test to get to the light? That for you to find everything that you want, you have to leave behind everything that scares you to get to that better place. And you will always end up in a better place. Maybe not financially, but money isn't everything. Money in the end does nothing but buys you a nice fancy grave. Do you think Hillary on her deathbed is going to be taking all of her money with her? Do you think any of that's going to matter if everybody hated her and the only people that liked her were people that used her or were afraid of her or anybody in power? That's not the way to live. So I view myself as one of the lucky ones. And if somebody out there thinks I'm crazy for that or dumb or whatever, I don't care. And the same should go for you. You shouldn't care what anybody else thinks about you. Because most of you think for yourself. Most of you are not afraid to question things. You're just afraid to let go of what you really want gone. Be careful what you wish for. You might get it. So go with the flow. You cannot be enlightened if you are afraid of rising above. If you want to be grounded, you're going to stay on the ground. You will not reach enlightenment. If you're afraid to look within, how will you ever gain insight or intelligence? And that's why I say I don't understand, I understand. So I'm going to leave the video here. I want you to think about this, and anytime you might feel down, watch this video again. Share it with somebody. Whether they resonate with it or not, that's up to them. But never give up. Because I only know this stuff because somebody on YouTube, and I'll just use the initial J, basically pushed years of knowledge on me on one phone call, and it changed my life. But it was my choice. I could have easily dismissed it. I could have said the person was crazy. I could have hung up on him. I could have not taken the call. I could have not given him my number. It's all choice. Be appreciative that you have information that most people are just too blind or too willfully ignorant to even want to pay attention to. Knock on a door. If nobody answers, don't keep knocking. Move on. So if you're trying to help somebody and they don't want to listen, try once, try twice, maybe even try a third time if you really appreciate the person or love the person or care about the person. But after that, if they don't want to hear it, let them be. They're here for their own reasons. And like in school, if you don't learn the lessons, you get left back. You get left behind. And the ones that study, the ones that paid attention to what they needed to pass the exams instead of partying all the time and hanging out with their friends and staying up all night, because that stuff's more fun. But those are the people more likely to fail. You want to graduate to the next level? Do your work. Trust in yourself. Believe that you're here for a purpose, even if you don't remember what that is, because maybe that's the ultimate test. That we're supposedly either put here or we choose to be here. So, despite billions of people who don't give a crap, billions of people who don't care, billions of people that want to party and only focus on the superficial, that a few of us, for some reason, get information that others dismiss and call crazy, and we learn from it, and we learn the truth. Maybe that's what helps us graduate the game of life. Well, they keep coming back again and again and again. And maybe that's why we're here now, is we took all this time to figure it out. If you want to be left back, don't study. Ignore it. Be one of the large majority of the crowd who will do what other people do. They will follow what other people do and what other people say and what other people tell you to do. That's not me. So I'm going to leave it at that. And yeah, the chat doesn't give you very long comments, but when this uploads, you can put as long a comment you want. Start a dialogue. Start talking to one another. And stop worrying about what other people think about us. They'll find out eventually the error of their ways. I would rather be prepared and nothing happen than to not be prepared when something happens. Because if I bought food and I didn't need to eat it based on the fact that there's no food left to get because the world has collapsed, well, then I got less shopping to do. If I bought all this gold and silver and it doesn't reach to the moon and the dollar doesn't collapse, well, it's not worthless. It's not going to turn to zero. I will get my money back. So if you just got here, I always welcome you. I thank you for taking the time. When this video uploads, you can watch the whole thing, and if it inspires you to make a better person out of yourself and stop worrying about everybody else, and stop stopping yourself. Stop stopping yourself. Don't be your own worst enemy. It doesn't matter what somebody else says. It matters if you believe it or let it affect you. Somebody can go up to you right now, look you in the face and say, you know what? You look like a duck. I think you're a duck. You know what? What do you all think? Hey, friends, hey, people in this bar or club or wherever you are, doesn't this person look like a duck? And they all say, yeah. Come to think of it, looks like a duck. Does that mean you're a duck? If you want to believe you are, oh, I guess it must be because everybody else is saying I am. Dismiss what doesn't resonate with you. There's a thing that they say in Hollywood. It's lonely at the top. That goes for more than just people with lots of money and lots of fame. So if you're stressed out, do something, relieve the stress. Why would you hold on to something that causes you pain and hardship? That's why I always talk about admiralty law. Hardship. Hardship. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped you. If you appreciated it, always the thumbs up always help. I appreciate the support. Share it. Watch it with friends. Watch it when you're feeling lonely. And remember, everything is a choice, including fear. Once you lose those things and realize they're choices, things become easier. I don't worry where my next paycheck's coming from. I don't worry where my next meal is going to be. Because even though I might not have anything planned, as soon as I need it, something always comes up. Why? Because I'm not afraid of what might not be. I sit back and say, okay, universe, when you're ready to provide me what I need, it'll be there for me when I least expect it. And that's been happening for the past 15 years. To the point where I know that even if all of a sudden I don't have any jobs for a week, and all of a sudden bills are piling up and extra things have happened, like my car breaking down, and I don't have the money to pay for it, I don't panic, even though that can be scary. I just sit back and say something will come along, and then all of a sudden somebody will call me for a party, or somebody will buy a package gift certificate, or somebody will go into my Oregon website and buy a couple of pyramids or something like that, and the problem is solved. Don't live in fear. That's how you are controlled, because they know they can't make you do anything, but if they can trick you into making your own choices, you are changing the script based on what other people are telling you. Life is a movie. You're the director. Just because somebody told you or everybody says this is the way the script goes, you don't have to write it. But if you do, that's your fault. Take responsibility and know that if you made mistakes in the past, you can correct them. And that's the beauty of mistakes. If you see negative as positive and take it as a learning lesson, you can understand when something bad happens, it's life's way of saying, hey, stupid, don't do that anymore. I'm going to make it so painful that you will not forget it. Well, congratulations, you learned something, unless you keep doing the same thing over and over again. Whose fault is that? Thanks for watching. Have a great day. And don't forget to have your trolls spayed or neutered. Peace out. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.